All right, Shalom. This is Harawan by Nyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. Before I begin, I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Harakah Kodash, Ma'amaf. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and Agwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. All right. Um, we're going to dive right in. There's going to be a lesson dealing with a visitation of Yahweh Shai. All right. Um, Kind of similar to the story of how Abba Bivens, who's also known as spiritually John the Baptist and Elijah, he uh he saw Yahweh Shai as well, right here on the soils of America. All right, also known as Babylon. There's a story about Abba Bivens turning around in his living room or kitchen, and he saw a man standing there with white woolly hair, dark skin, and a beard in a green robe. All right, and every time I think about that, I it conjures up the thought of John the Revelator as well. All right, how Yahweh Shai went to visit John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos after Yahweh Shai was taken up into the spirit world. Also now, just a little historical background. You have uh, I made this little picture right here. There's John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos, and he was sentenced. John the Revelator was sentenced to the Isle of Patmos around 75 A.D. All right, by the Emperor Domitian. All right, this is Domitian. Wait, let me show you. All right, you had the Emperor Domitian. He was one of the last of the what was it called, the Vespasian dynasty. All right, the brother to Titus. Let me turn this music down so I can. And also the son of Vespasian. All right. So you had Titus, Vespasian, and you had Domitian. All right. Domitian is the one that allegedly built what you would call the Colosseum. You know, the one you see in all the movies. And it was allegedly funded. Let me see, Roman Colosseum. And the Roman Colosseum was allegedly funded by the money the riches they took from us in 70 A.D. All right, and if I'm not mistaken, this Colosseum was dedicated to Titus by his brother Domitian after Titus was unalived, allegedly by Domitian. So just a little historical information based around this story. So now let's go to, because you had John, he was sentenced to the Isle of Patmos around 75 AD because he was also known as one of the last prophets alive, of the disciples or whatever, the prophets, um, to be alive at that time. The rest of them were unalived or killed off, if you want to say. All right, and he was sentenced to destitute on the Isle of Patmos. I think they had sent him there to grind mill, the millstones. All right, but John the Revelator was also known as John the Beloved. Right, when you read about the one that laid in Yahweh bosom and he put his arm around Yahweh, um, He was known as John the Beloved, so he was a close friend of Yahushua, right? And he wrote First John, Second John, and Third John. All right, those are also the same one that wrote John, the Revelations. He also wrote First John, Second John, Third John. All right. Now, then you have the Book of John. That's about John the Baptist. All right, two different Johns. Now, uh, 75 A.D., John the Revelator was sentenced to the Isle of Patmos to die by Domitian. Around what would that be, like 90 A.D. He wrote First John, Second John, Third John. And then around 95, he wrote the Book of Revelations. So we'll say around 95 A.D. That's when the Book of Revelations was written. He had these visions, and then 96 A.D. Where is it at? In 96 A.D. is when Domitian died. You see right here, 96 A.D. September 18th, he was assassinated, and it's written about him in Scripture. Him and his brother and his dad, Vespasian. Um, so just showing more facts, I guess, that the Bible is true. Right, that these incidents happened. So 96 A.D., Domitian the Edomite was assassinated, and John was released from the Isle of Patmos. All right, well, I think he lived for like another year or so. So now let me go to what was I about to go to? Let's go to right here. I'll go here. All right, just to get some understanding before we even go into the book of Revelations. So let's read right here, Revelations 1 and 9. I, I, John, or Yakanan, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation, right? So he, just like us, we go through tribulation, just like he did. But it was more deadly back then. All right, they were putting us to death. I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, was in the isle that is called Patmos. All right, now why was he sentenced there? It says, for the word of Yahweh and for the testimony of Yahweh Shai. So he got the victory. He was sentenced there. A lot of the disciples were put to death, and they got the victory so they could be here today to have access to the tree of life. All right, and being set up for salvation. So those men are back here today, most likely teaching in this truth. All right, and it says so he was sentenced to the Isle of Patmos by Domitian. Now let's read the scripture that speaks about Domitian, showing proof that he's in the Bible as well. Because we know about the abomination that maketh desolate, spoken of in Daniel and in the book of Acts. But it's that's talking about Titus and Vespasian. But this one right here is talking about Domitian. Here you go, in Titus. Second Ezra 2 and 12. 12 and 22. And whereas thou sawest three heads rested, this is the interpretation, right? Because Second Ezra chapter 12 breaks down the Roman Empire from the Caesars, to the emperors, all the way up to 70 A.D. Starting with the triumvirate and ending with the Vespasian dynasty. That's Second Ezra chapter 12. And it says, and whereas thou sawest three heads resting, this is the interpretation. In his last days, shall the Most High raise up three kingdoms. All right. So three kingdoms, and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth, and of those that dwell therein with much oppression, above all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagles. Talking about Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. All right. Those are the three. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness. What's that in 70 AD? That was accomplished, spoken of in Daniel chapter 9. and and that shall finish his last end. And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signified that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. That's talking about Vespasian, all right, their father. For the two that remain shall be slain by the sword, all right. And it's alleged that uh, Vespasian, or what's the name, Domitian, slew um, Titus. All right, if you read in the history, for the two that remain shall be slain with the sword. For the one sword, for the sword of the one shall devour the other. All right, so it's in history. Let's see if I can find it. If I can't find it, it's cool. Uh, All right, this says Domitian. Ancient authors have implicated Domitian in the death of his brother, either by directly accusing him of murder or implying he left the ailing Titus to die for dead. All right. So it's written in history by authors and scholars that Domitian had a part in Titus's uh, demise. All right. So let's go back. It says this 28, for the sword of the one, Domitian, shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. Now let's go back to this. Share this tab. It says September 18th, 96. Remember I told you he was unalive. Well, he died in 96 AD, Domitian. And once he died, he John the Revelator was released from the Isle of Patmos, 96 AD. But it says here, what? Assassinated. That's scripture, man. Shows more proof that the scriptures are historical and facts. So it says, for the sword of the other, of one, who that one is Domitian, shall devour the other. See, Titus. But at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. See, he was assassinated, 96 AD. All right. Um, and whereas thou sawest two feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest have kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom and full of trouble, as thou sawest. And the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood, and roaring and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hast heard, this is the anointed. It's talking about Yahushua. That was rebuking the Roman Empire, calling them the mystery of iniquity that already exists. All right, prophesying that they'll be revealed in these last days. This is the anointed, talking about Yahushua, which the highest have kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end. So Yahweh has kept Yahushua in the heavens, ready to send him back for judgment all right, to judge Esau in 2/3 and these heathens. And he shall reprove them and shall upbraid them um, with their cruelty. All right, so he's gonna hold them to their cruelty. All right, for he shall set them before him alive in judgment. So where's going to happen? They're going to be alive in slavery, and shall rebuke them and correct them. All right. So yeah, man. What Domitian and Titus and Vespasian did, they're going to pay for it in the kingdom of Yahweh. All right. Um, so now let's get into this Revelations real quick, if I can. Make this the backdrop. So now we got a little historical understanding of here you go, John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos. Why they call him the Revelator? Because he was given the ultimate revelation. All right, that's what Revelations is about. That's the difference between Ezra's, Daniel, all of them got different prophecies, but the ultimate revelation is Yahweh Shai himself and what happened in the heavens after he was taken up and how he's going to return. All right. He's the ultimate revelation given in detail, the seven last trumps, what's going to happen in detail. Uh, so let's go to Revelations 1, and it says 1 and 1. It says, this book is the record, the recording or chronicle um, of the events that Yahweh Shai revealed. All right, so these were revealed. What does the word reveal mean? Uh, Revelation. I mean, let's get etymology. All right, it says to lay bare, to unveil, to disclose, all right, to uncover. You see that? So revelation means to uncover or to unveil divine truth. So this was uncovered. When was it covered though? That's the point. So if it was covered, it had to be a point where it was actually covered. Let's go to Daniel 12 and 4. This is when it was sealed up. All right. Daniel 12 and 4, and this happened around was it chapter 12? So this had to happen around 540 BC, I would say 605, but around 540 BC during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, all right, and Belshazzar and Daniel, the fall of the Babylonian Empire. So it says Daniel 12 and 4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words. See, he put a seal on it, spiritual seal on it. Shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. All right, we're in that time now. Even when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, and John the Revelator, knowledge was increased even through ships and trade and conquering of other nations. They would send information in ships across the water. That's why you had the Library of Alexandria. All right, so knowledge was being increased at that time exponentially. So, but in Revelation 22 and 10, it says, and he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. So you see the difference? So the Lord said the time wasn't at hand yet. So seal up these words, seal up the book, you know, until Yahweh Shai, he's the one that revealed it. All right, let's read it. So Revelation 1 and 1. This book is a record of the events that Yahweh Shai revealed. Yahweh gave him this revelation in order to show to his servants, right? The servants, which would be the elect of the seven churches of Asia Minor. Today, we just call the elect, the hopeful elect. Um, to show to his servants what must happen very soon. Yahushua made these things known to his servant John by sending his angel to him, man. So that's deep. So these are divine revelations straight from the Most High. That's why this is the best book on earth. This is a direct message recorded through writings, direct message from Yahweh through Yahweh Shai, through the angels, and through his men on earth. All right. So servant John sending his angel to him. And John was told all that he had seen. All right. So John was told everything that Yahweh Shai saw. And when did he see it? Let's go to Revelations 5. Because this happened in the heavens after Yahweh Shai was taken up. Revelations 1 and 5 and 1. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals, man. All right, written within and on the backside, it had 7 seals on it. All right, and that was the ancient way you would close up a letter. It would be rolled up like a scroll, and would have seals that you would have to crack to open the letter. All right, and if your name wasn't on it, you wouldn't open those seals. And once they were cracked, it couldn't be closed back up. Sealed back. It'd be tough to seal it back up. So the only one who was worthy enough to open those seals and to let us know in detail the Father's plans um, is Yahushua. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof?" No man in heaven, nor in earth, nor under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. So you couldn't find um, anybody in heaven, the spirit realm, nor on earth, nor under the earth. So you can go through all the corpses on the earth, say that was a great man, and you would never find anybody that was worthy enough to go up there and open that book. All right. And I wept much because no man was worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. See, why was John weeping? Because um, without this, we would have no hope, especially in these times, right here. Because if you read Revelations 11, we were spiritually dead, and they were mocking us, sending gifts to one another over us, and we was walking around here spiritually dead. And then out of nowhere, the breath of life entered into us. Why? Because the Father promised Yahweh Shai that He was going to send His Spirit to us, and now we know what's going on, and we're able to offer up our spiritual sacrifice, blow the ram's horn, which is a sign of repentance, to call on the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai in these last days before the judgment comes. So we have no reason to weep anymore. All right. I wept much because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders, see, look, without the book of Revelations, we wouldn't know about the MOTB that they're coming with. All right. We wouldn't know about World War III. It says what? And one of the elders saith unto me, "Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yahweh Shai, he's the lion that was roaring at the Roman Empire. And the root of David, meaning the direct descendant bloodline of King David, born through Joseph and Mary, all right, through their seed, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, of the 4 angels, the 4 archangels. All right, beast just means creatures or creations, living beings. And in the midst of the elders, so you got a bunch of um, angels around the throne of Yahweh, like a heavenly Sanhedrin, like a court. And in the midst of the elders stood a lamb. So Yahweh Shai was standing there, the first spirit to bring a human body into the spirit world. Imagine how they're looking at that, the angels, seeing a miracle that they can be super overly impressed with, seeing Yahweh Shai standing there, getting the victory, having a human body from the third dimension, bringing that into the fourth dimension. All right. And in the midst of the elders stood a lamb as it had been slain. See, like it had been killed, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, meaning he was given uh, all the blessings of Isaiah chapter 11, the first few couple verses. And he was given power over all judgment and over the angels in heaven. All right. And over us, which are the 7 spirits of Yahweh sent forth into all the earth. See, in judgment. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 4 elders, 24 elders, fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to Yahweh by the blood out of every by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. So he brought us from where we were scattered from around the world, like he promised in Isaiah, to bring us back from being Gentiles. All right, we're scattered amongst the whole world, but through His Spirit and power and sacrifice, He's able to pull us back and prepare an army for Yahweh. All right, so for thou was slain and has redeemed us. Um, and that's a new song, right? Because the old song was about Moses and how Yahweh delivered us out of Egypt. But the new song is Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai. He's going to deliver the elect of Israel from this current Egypt. All right, that's the new song. And nobody can understand or sing that song but the elect that has made us unto our power kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. So that's how you know those elders that's around the throne. Those are some of the elect out in the heavens. All right, so they said they were redeemed. So now let's keep going. So this is what happened out in the heavens, man. And because of this, Yahweh Shai opening the seals, he was able to what? This is Revelation 1 and 1 again. This is the book of the record of the events that Yahweh Shai revealed. Yahweh gave him this revelation in order to show to his servants what must happen very soon. Yahweh Shai made these things known to his servant John by sending his angel to him, and John has told all that he has seen. This is his report concerning the message from Yahweh and the truth revealed by Yahweh Shai Mashiach. See, the truth got revealed, divine truth. All right. Happy is the one who reads this book, and happy are those who listen to the words of this prophetic message and obey what is written in this book. For the time is near when all these things will happen. All right. So let me see how long I went. I might make this into a 2 or 3 part video. Um, let's go right here. So this is John. It says, greetings to the 7 churches. All right. So he was writing to the remnant that was left amongst the 7 churches. The 7 churches are, was it Pergamon, Sardis, uh, Thessalonica, Ephesus, Smartest, I think it was. Let me go ahead and pull them up real quick. Hold up. 7 churches of Asia Minor. All right, it's in what's called modern day Turkey or near Istanbul, but it would be Pergamos, and this was called the dwelling of Satan because they worshiped Zeus in this place, and they had a giant statue of Zeus, uh, and they would boil you in a pot like they did the prophet. I think in chapter 2, I'm gonna read about probably another time. I did a lesson on it. Smyrna, Ephesus, Laodicea. That's one I forgot. Thyatira, Sardis, and Philadelphia. All right. So this was the starting point of what we have become today. All right. This was the starting point of the elect. All right. Start from Yahweh Shai to Peter to Paul and to the rest of the Israelite Gentiles scattered. And then those people taught others all the way up until um, we were cut off as a nation. And then the Lord brought that truth back through Abba Bivens. All right. And all the way up until us today. Okay. So let me read. It says, from John to the 7 churches in the province of Asia, grace and peace be yours from Yahweh, who is, who was, and who is to come. Right? He's the past, present, and future. That right there is a clear message that we're of the third dimension. He operates outside of time, outside of past, present, and future. All right. So he was in the past. He is now ruling on the throne, and he is to come in the future. We're looking for him to return. That's somebody that operates outside of time. And from the 7 spirits in front of his throne, right? And from Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, the faithful witness, the first to be raised from death. All right. So he was the first to be raised from death, and we're the second. And who is also the ruler of the kings of the world. So he's the true ruler and inheritance of this whole world. He's the true king of all over all the earth. The first spirit ever created. He loves us, and by his sacrificial death, he has freed us from our sins and made us a kingdom of priests to serve his power and Father. All right. He made us a kingdom of priests after the order of Melchizedek. All right. Because of that, uh, during the time of Abraham, it was already set in place for uh, the 12 tribes of Israel to become a nation of kings and priests, not just the Levites. All right. So that Yahushua could come through the tribe of Judah and will be priests today, spiritual priests. It says, to Yahushua Mashiach be the glory and power forever and ever. Amen. Look, he is coming on the clouds, right? He's going to show up in what you call the chariot. You've been hearing about it. Share this tab. You've been hearing about the UFOs, UAPs, same clouds that led us out of Egypt. All right. Strange UFOs spotted in Mexico. Video footage is puzzling. Watch. 3, maybe 4 UFOs caught on camera in Mexico. Oh, this is something new. I might check that out real quick. Let's go ahead and see what that is. UFO spotted over Europe, 2022. Then they got the Oumuamua Comet Atlas. Right, let's see what this is real quick. UFO was spotted over Mexico. Let me get up out of all this. They got anything clear to see? Okay, here we go. Let's see what this is.
No, estoy temblando. Estamos viendo un ovni triangular. Está parado en medio de la nada. Se formó. Se formó. No manches, ¿qué es eso? Estoy temblando. No vaya a ser que... Y está saliendo otro chiquito de ese, ¿ya viste? Te digo que eran 4.
That's cool. They're in formation too.
No manches eso.
Yeah, one in the front,
No, es que no lo puedo creer.
2, and then probably another 2.
De una luz se hicieron 2, lo están viendo.
All right, they watching. And that goes with Revelation 7, that the angels can't do anything according to the final prophecies until the Most High gives the green light, until other prophecies come to pass first. All right. So, and also I want to show this too, man. This is a picture from John John the Revelator on Isle of Patmos, right? Share this tab, and they got a cave that they say he was allegedly in, all right, called the cave of John, all right. They say of the apocalypse, and something that caught my eyes is these pictures on the wall. A lot of them were whitewashed through something called iconoclasm, meaning destruction of the icons. But Patmos, Greece, right? But look at the pictures, man. They dark skin. Some of them whitewashed, right? But check this out. This is the one that caught my attention right here. I was like, man, I gotta see that. Cause look, you see they dark skin. They got the angels supposed to be the Most High. It's supposed to be John on the Isle of Patmos getting visions of the heavens, right? Of course, they got all this Catholic demonic stuff in there. But look at this, y'all. That's John the Revelator. Look like Elder Apostle Gabar. Right? Am I tripping? That's John the Revelator right there. And they got it right on the wall. And look at the Most High. Of course, they said nobody has seen his face, so I can see why they got it blurred. But look at the angels. Clearly, if not dark skin, but they were dark skin, you could tell it was whitewashed or attempted whitewashing. But they got little afros. That's how you could tell it was whitewashed, because they have afros, but their skin will be yellow. All right, you got a white garment on. You can see that. But look at John the Revelator, man. That's what really caught my attention. He's still called Negro. All right, look at that. So let's read what he was talking about. It says, "Look, he is coming on the clouds." Revelations 1 and 7. Everyone will see him, including those who pierced him. So he's going to show up on the chariots. And the ones that pierced him is 2/3 of our people in the Roman Empire. They're going to be back here on the earth to get that judgment. All right. All peoples of the earth will mourn over him. So shall it be. So some going to be mourning for salvation. Some going to be mourning for being condemned. All right. Confounded. So shall it be. I am the first and the last, says the Lord Power Almighty. Talking about Yahushua, who is, who was, and who is to come. That's deep, man. All right, I might well finish this out. Let me finish it. A vision of Yahushua. So this is when John the Revelator saw Yahushua. All right. Wow, seeing him in the spirit. The same friend he saw walking around teaching and was crucified, he saw again on the Isle of Patmos alive and breathing, right? So that's John on the Isle of Patmos. So let's read. It says, I am John, your brother, and as a follower of Yahweh Shai, I am your partner in patiently enduring the suffering that comes to those who belong to this kingdom. I was put on the Isle of Patmos by Domitian, right? Because I had proclaimed Yahweh's word and the truth that Yahweh Shai revealed, right? It's written that they were going to be thrown into prison, all right? Some going to be thrown into prison now, but we're praying for the Lord to deliver us from the martial law, et cetera, et cetera. Psalms 91. But if it happens, we have to be prepared mentally, all right? Fortify your mind and your spirit for those things. On the Lord's day represents the Sabbath. The Spirit took control of me, and they had something called walking meditation. He'd be walking around just praying, you know. So he was in the Spirit, and I heard a loud voice that sounded like a trumpet speaking behind me. It said, "Write down what you see." That same thing Abba Bivens said, man. Write down what you see and send the book to the churches in these seven cities: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. All right. I turned around to see who was talking to me, and I saw seven golden lampstands, all right, representing like the menorah. All right. So he looked and he saw seven golden lampstands. He basically saw a menorah, which was symbolic. And among them there was what looked like a human being, a man, all right, Yahweh Shai, wearing a robe that reached to his feet. So it wasn't just a garment, it was actually a robe. Same thing Abba Bivens said. He said he turned around, he saw a man, white and woolly hair, dark skin, standing in his kitchen or in his apartment, his house or whatever he was at. And the man was wearing a green robe and he told him about the Paleo Hebrew. And I heard a voice when I was younger in my right ear and it said, keep your mind on me, keep your mind on me. Remember that secret place I gave you, but it sounded loud like a trumpet, meaning it was blasting in my ear. Hey, it is what it is. Um, so here you go. And among them, there was what looked like a human being that's symbolic of being among the seven golden lampstands, just like the seven churches or the elect today, the Lord is among us in the midst, wearing a robe that reached down to his feet, all right, and gold and a gold band around his chest. Why? Because he's our high priest. All right. The golden girdle, if it was around his chest, it would mean, I mean, around his belly, that would be representative for war. Right. If you look it up, people would wear the girdle or the ephod around their belly to hold their weapons. All right. Sometimes they have a metal one so it can guard from weapons hitting their vital organs. But this was around his chest. All right, around his paps, which means he reached the level of ultimate priesthood. The priests would wear it around their paps, all right, around their chest. And this was symbolic of the gold, meaning he's our priest in the heavens forever. Let me see if I can get something on my phone. I can get it quicker on my phone real quick. All right, because he's our priest, our high priest. And the gold represents setting that in place forever. Let's read Hebrews 4:14. It says, seeing that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Yahweh Shai, the son of Yahweh, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities. He's in the midst, right? But was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. So that shows that's our symbolism that Yahweh Shai will always be there praying for us, you know, operating in the position of a high priest. A high priest would go in and out of the Holy of Holies and offer prayers for the people and for himself. All right. So when you read the golden girdle, that's symbolic of Yahweh Shai being our high priest forever. Uh, Hebrews 8 and 1. Now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such a high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesties in heaven, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord pitched, and not man. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices, wherefore it is of necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer. All right. It says, for if it were on earth, he should not be a high priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law. All right, so I ain't gonna read all that. So now, so he gave the ultimate sacrifice for us, and it's still there, set in place like gold. All right, the highest level. Uh, sheesh, I'm gonna read all that. Hebrews 5 and 1. For every high priest is taken from among men, that is taken from among men, is ordained for men, in things pertaining to Yahweh. Just like Yahweh Shai, he was ordained by Yahweh for men, for us on earth. All right. He was ordained when he spoke to Peter and to John, and he said, "This is my beloved son, hear ye him." So Yahweh was ordaining him right there. All right. Because before that, he was not looked at as a high priest. It says, "Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way, for that he himself also is compassed with infirmity, and by reason hereof he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins." And he did that for his time when he was on the earth as Solomon, all right? Offering for his own sins as Solomon and also for the sins of the people. And no man taketh this honor unto himself, but he that is called of Yahweh, as was Aaron. So also Yahweh Shai glorified not himself to be made as high priest, but he that said unto him, Thou art my son, today have I begotten thee. See that? So he made him the high priest. All right. Yahweh chose him to be the high priest over Israel forever. That's what the gold represents. As as he saith also in another place, art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplication with strong crying and tears that was able unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered, and being made perfect, see, gold, all right, gold as gold tried in the fire, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him, called of Yahweh and high priest after the order of Melchizedek, of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing. All right. So that's what that means where it says, where is it at? I turned to Revelation 1 and 12. I turned to see who was talking to me, and I saw 7 golden lampstands. And among them, there was, so basically amongst the churches, the elect, there was what looked like a human being wearing a robe that reached to his feet, and gold, and a gold band about his chest, about his paps, a golden girdle. All right, the high priest. His head, His hair was white as wool or as snow, and his eyes blazed like fire. And we know that's not talking about this guy here. We know it ain't talking about this guy. His white and woolly hair, his eyes blaze like fire. This guy here is Cesare Borgia, the son of the sixth Pope of Rome, like Edomite. All right. So according to this depiction, Yahweh Shai would be more like this. All right. White and woolly hair. See, people always put the girdle around his belly, but it'll be around his chest, like a priest. All right. See, they got it wrong. And that look like Nate. So it'd be more like this: white and woolly hair, brown skin, right? Not this Jamaican virgin. So, all right. Let me go ahead and share this. And this is just a depiction, okay? So his hair was white as wool or as snow, and his eyes blazed like fire. They said the eyes are the windows to your soul, and he had judgment on his mind. All right, the fierce wrath and power that he has within him. His feet shone like brass that has been refined and polished. So if you look at refined, it basically means to be cooked. You know, um, all right. So you got brass, right? That's brass. But then you got as if it was burned in a furnace. So it would be, let's go to burnt brass. All right. So this is burnt brass. Oh, cool. Somebody got a picture description. Let's see what this is. There you go. All right. So I don't know who this from. Hebrew Israelite. Probably, burnt brass. You got brass and you got burnt brass. So Yahweh Shah was probably a little darker than this. All right. They got, see, they keep putting Lamentation 5. That had nothing to do with this, man. Skin was black upon me. That had nothing to do with this. These dudes be like degenerates, man. Goodness, boy. They gotta stop using Lamentation 5 and 10, I think it is, for saying I'm black. That was talking about the famine that was happening to our people. It had nothing to do with our skin color. So now it says here, uh, so it was like burnt brass, and his voice sounded like a roaring waterfall. Deep, deep, like speaking through a frequency or something, right? But again, man, where's it at? This one right here. This one always look at that. That one right there is crazy. John the Revelator, right? Dark skinned man, the Israelites. That was us. All right. And it says, and his feet shone like brass that had been refined and polished, or burnt brass, and his voice sounded like a roaring waterfall. He held 7 stars in his right hand, and a sharp two-edged sword came out of his mouth, talking about judgment. All right, the judgment that he's going to bring. When he speaks against something, it gets destroyed. His face was as bright as the midday sun. It says, wisdom causes thy face to shine. All right, so he has the ultimate wisdom. It's brighter than the sun at noon. When I saw him, I fell down at his feet like a dead man. So if people would see Yahweh Shai, they would just drop dead. All right, forget screaming like you screaming for a celebrity. Nah, they just gonna drop. and he had to tell you to get up. He placed his right hand on me and said, "Don't be afraid. I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I was dead, but now I am alive forevermore." That's what you see. He's alive forevermore. So he's alive right now, even in these times. I have authority over death and the world of the dead. So the Lord has authority to put us in slavery, captivity, or to bring us out of captivity. All right. And he has authority over the spirit world, written in Colossians and John chapter 1. Write then the things you see. So he told John to write everything he saw in 75 AD, the 96 AD, and that he saw with when Yahweh Shai was walking around. Both the things that are now and the things that will happen afterwards. So write the prophecies to come as well. All right. Here is the secret meaning of the seven stars that you see in my right hand, meaning he controls us, right? And of the seven golden lampstands. The seven stars are the angels of the seven churches. The angels, or angel just means messenger. So those angels are special. The men that are over these camps today, if they're sincere, they're considered the angels. And even the people in the camps are considered the angels, the messengers. But at that time, the Lord would set certain men over the churches. All right, he considered them the angels. If you read through the chapters, it said the angel that he sent to Thyatira, the angel that he sent to this place. All right. Um, so the seven stars are the angels of the seven churches. All right, the heads over those areas, and the seven lampstands are the seven churches. All right. So with that, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Hopefully, it was edifying, and you know, get this music going. It was edifying, and you learned a lot from this. There's a lot of facts in this book of Revelations, and it's a divine revelation from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and the true vision of Yahweh Shai, and the story of and faith of John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos. All right, he wrote the book of Revelations 95 AD after he was sentenced to the Isle of Patmos by Domitian, the Edomite. All right, and if you look in history, you'll see that John the Revelator was a dark-skinned man, a so-called Negro, just like Yahweh Shai himself. With that, I'm gonna say peace to the elect and shalom.